Hello Virgo and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. We're going to be focusing on the month of November 2023. And as always, you can either watch it ahead of the month or as the month is unfolding. It's great to see all of you, and many of you know that I like to combine dream interpretation into my readings. And right before we get into the Celtic Cross, I tune into Source and basically look at all the stuff that I got the night before and make some sense of it for you. I see a lot of positive movement and positive change in the mix for you, and the big question is, are you ready? And that takes us to the first slide in the first message here. So in dreams, I saw what looked to me like an oncoming storm, and I closely connect storm imagery to the tower whenever I receive it in dreams. And there was actually no storm underway. I was just focusing on like the swirling clouds. And to me, when I did this, I wasn't feeling fear or anxiety. What I was feeling was an imminent or immediate sort of energy, like it's happening, folks. So if there has been any sense of delay, hesitation, maybe even a sense of doubt on your part, should I do something now or is the time right? Spirit came through today and it basically said, now is the time. And so that's message number one, embrace change and take action. The second thing was that planning is empowerment. So sometimes we go into something and we know, maybe like 25% of what's going on, but there's going to be some unknowns because we're relying on other people, because we're anticipating what might be happening a few steps down the line. And the best thing that you can do in this situation is just plan. Plan for alternate courses. So first and foremost, save a little bit of time, energy, and resources just in case you need it. That was one thing. Just like in a storm, if the power goes out, if you have some batteries or candles, you're good to go. So keep a little bit to the side for whatever, might happen in the future. The other thing is it's really good to go through the exercise of, well, if this doesn't happen, what about this? And have I even considered that? So basically entertaining possibilities. So by embracing change, taking action, and also planning for a contingency or an unknown, then you can navigate anything that comes your way, basically, and there's no fear. It's just a matter of movement. So to me, the winds of change are positive, but the tower isn't something that we can avoid. Towers come through in very different sort of energies. Sometimes there's something that you just want to hug and embrace because it's like, finally it's happening. Sometimes it's the universe knocking on the door saying, why haven't you done this yet? And you're going to have to deal with it now. So we're going to go for part A of that, which is, you know what's in store, you're going to embrace it, and you're going to make the most of it. Let's look at the second slide here, which was really beautiful, actually. I saw someone from my family who's now in spirit that was holding up a mirror, and when they shined the mirror on me, I saw light. And it's so interesting because when I looked at this person and they were in my life, they were a source of inspiration and insight. What they were doing in spirit for me and for you is saying, you're the light. Be the light. Embrace what you have, because people in your life can only do so much, and sometimes, especially when they pass, they can't really do that anymore. They don't have to. That's the message. You are bright and brilliant and resplendent just as you are, and you're bright enough to handle anything that happens or anything that's about to sort of transpire. So I'm talking about the brilliance of your soul and your insight, but also you're smart enough to handle anything that comes your way as well. So be the light in your life, even when others are afraid or maybe aren't there to hold up the mirror. That's why you tuned into this particular reading today. See the mirror shining back and know that from spirit through me to you, the message is you're worth it, you can do this, and spirit's ready to give you what you need to shine, okay? Also, for those of you like me that have lost some people in your life, this is how we can carry on the torch and basically bring that legacy forward, okay? Now, finally, this is the most important piece, and this is why I put the Ace of Wands here. By the way, the previous one, the Star, this is just one of the brightest cards that I could think of, and also it's a card of basically authenticity, which is why I chose that. So Ace of Wands, this is a spark of intuition, this is a spark of passion, this is vitality, and it wants to come through, but one thing that Spirit was showing me was people or activities or sometimes even environments that are depleting your battery. And it's the second time in 1 week that I've been shown the symbol of a battery, not at full charge. So anything that you need to do right now to replenish your vitality, and your vitality is both physical, I would say it's three things, not just both. It's physical, it's emotional, and it's spiritual. So you're going to have to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. So today, let's pay special attention to the cards when we get to that portion where I look at health, okay? All right, let's give the cards a shuffle and see what's coming through. Again, this can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see you. All right, let's get everything arranged nicely here. And we're going to begin with your Catalyst card. We have a beautiful energy coming through with the Catalyst, and this is basically an end to secrecy. So we have the Secret Keeper, but the card is upside down, which means that this is a time to speak the truth and also to share parts of your life maybe that you couldn't share before. So we're going to start with the sort of most elevated translation of this, which is sometimes we are taught when we are younger that we shouldn't be a certain way or do a certain thing or love a certain person or whatever it is. There's a lot of things where people think they know best. As we get older, we realize, you know what, that was maybe a projection of their feelings or their fears even on you. You and you alone know what's best for you. And there comes a point where it's sort of like, this is me, take it or leave it. So for those of you that are ready to reveal the real you, then good for you. And I'm happy that you're ready to live your authentic self. It's like the star card that I was talking about earlier. So that's the most elevated thing that I can see here, is that there's a part of you that you may have kept to yourself. And now you're like, no, this is my true passion in life. This is my true personality, or this is the person that I love. And it could be a combination of all of those. There may also be a secret that isn't good to keep. So maybe there was something in the family or in work or in your social sphere where it's sort of like, why are we not talking more openly about this? So there could be something coming to light that needed to, for the betterment of everyone and for just basically healing energy. Now, the only cautionary note I get from this is if there's something that needs to be kept in confidence, this could be for legal reasons. Maybe there's also something around intellectual property or an upcoming announcement, and you want to keep it kind of quiet so that you can make the maximum splash then. It could be difficult depending on who you talk to. So really make sure that people are clear on non-disclosure policies, or that maybe you just share it with a select or small audience, okay? Because things have a way of getting out this month. And one last thing that comes through, there's so many things as I see this card, is it's better to control the sort of dialogue here. So back in the day, I studied a bit about public relations, and you know, it's better to announce something if it's going to come out anyway. You'll see a lot of public figures and celebrities and, you know, people that are leading organizations do this when, you know, it's sort of like, let's control the press, let's tell our side of the story. So if something's happening or you know someone's going to spill the beans, just take the initiative and say, well, I was going to deal with this tomorrow, but let's talk today. It's better that you hear it from me. And it always is better that someone hears it from you, especially if it's something that should have been talked about earlier. Okay? So by and large, except for that last piece, I think that this is a card of just embracing, accepting, and announcing something exciting in your life. and maybe just kind of reclaiming your voice. This can, because I'm looking at this person sort of shushing you, and there comes a point where it's like, I need to speak. So if that's you and you need to speak, good for you. All right, we have the Devil card right on top of the Seven of Wands. So the Devil is a conditional card, it's a controlling card, and it connects to this. So if someone's trying to silence you, the good news this month is that's not going to happen. This is a card of defense. It's a card of being able to push through a challenging situation, and the Devil would definitely constitute a challenging situation. But it's basically saying you're putting your hand up, you're creating a line in the sand, and you're saying, actually, this is not good with me. This is what I want. This is how it's going to happen. You're finding your voice. You're finding your power. You're getting some stuff done. Let's take away the Secret Keeper and the Devil and just look at the Seven of Wands as it is. This is a card where also you can handle anything that comes your way. It's kind of like a juggling card, if you will. And it's one step after success, the Six of Wands, and it's one card right before this sort of big moment of movement. The rocket ships flying in air, the Eight of Wands. So you're in a really good space right now. I would stay focused. I would push back on anything that isn't, helping you. Remember, we were talking about the battery earlier. And as long as you're doing that, I feel like you've got this. You're making your way up that staircase towards success and towards opportunity. One thing that I always like to mention with this card, there is a chance to work a little bit smarter and take a step back a little bit. So it's not about working yourself to exhaustion, proving yourself to others. Sometimes it's better to say no and to focus and to just really do a good job on smaller amounts of things than trying to take on the weight of the world. Crossing this card is the Devil. If we're going to get it somewhere, I'd rather get it in the past, hopes and fears, or simply as something that might be, a potential block that you're going to have plenty of opportunity, by the way, to work around. So this could just be a gatekeeper, someone who you're getting a difficult time getting their rubber stamp approval. It may be someone who doesn't want to release you, let you go. Sometimes this can be a parent figure, parental kind of energy in your life. It could also be someone who shows their true colors, who tried to keep a secret, but you're intuitive, so you're going to see past the secret. And so it's okay, folks. This isn't in the sort of outcome. Well, it's not in the near future or the outcome. It's just a card that's coming through as like a speed bump, if you will. So you're going to take a half step on this speed bump and say, how did I end up here? What is this about? And it could also simply be temptation, knocking. So for those of you that are making a positive change in your life, sometimes that Devil energy comes through and it's like, did you really learn the lesson? Are you sure you don't want to try this again? And you're going to say invariably, without a shadow of a doubt, no, thank you. Move on to the next person. I learned my lesson. So that's how we're going to interpret that center crossing card here. Let's look at your deep past, your karmic energy, and kind of see what's coming through on this. In the past, historically, it feels like there's a lot of people-pleasing energy with this. The Ten of Cups typically would show family and love and that connection with all the peers around you. When it's reversed, it can be all the people that you care about tugging at you, saying, I need you for this, or you need to do that, or, always kind of, there can be judgment, there can be expectations, and internally, there's this inner desire to want to make all those people happy. The thing is, the ones that love you unconditionally are going to love you even when you do something that isn't exactly the way that they thought it should be. You have to live your best life. You have to be happy at the end of the day. And this card is saying that success and acceptance can't come at the sort of sacrifice of your happiness. They are not mutually exclusive. You should be both happy and successful. And if anything or anyone in your life tries to tell you that their love for you is contingent on something that makes you uncomfortable, unhappy, or is just divergent from the path that you want to take, then that's the Devil energy just coming through, and you're going to go through and you're going to cut that connection and say, no, because I love myself and I trust myself, because we have manifestation here and self-acceptance. I'm really proud of many of you. You've done the work. This card only comes through, folks, when you've done the work. We have the beautiful overflowing Ace of Cups. On this Ace of Cups, we have two doves looking in either direction. It's the invitation for partnerships and opportunities, and it might manifest a lot faster than you think, especially because the Magician card is in the near future. This can represent healing within the heart space. It can represent love and opportunity knocking on the door. It can represent internal creativity and ideation that's coming through. All of these thoughts and opportunities and sort of roads that are starting to open up to you. And that's also why El Diablo is saying, wait, stay here. Because there is this fear that you are moving into bigger, better, brighter horizons. And you are, because we have the Boss card here. We have a manifestation card here. We see you manifesting whatever it is that you want to have happen here. So much movement, by the way. King of Wands, Eight of Wands, 10 of Wands, 9 of Wands, and the 7 in the center. It's you this month. There's a lot of fire, a lot of movement, a lot of passion, and I'm all for it, folks. I'm all for it. In the crowning position, you're showing up here as a leader, as a thinker. You're able to make it happen. You're coming out from behind the curtain, behind the scenes, and saying, I've always had this potential. I'm glad you finally see it. There could also be a like-minded individual coming into your life that is holding up the mirror and saying, I see that, and I also want to connect with that. So like energy attracts like energy. Your love, your acceptance, your passion, it's pulling in someone else who has the same sort of energy and is also attracted to that and reflecting it back. If someone gives you a heartfelt compliment, saying something like, you're amazing, you're talented, you're beautiful, what you just in this moment, please say, thank you so much, that made my day. Don't say, oh, please, it was nothing. It was something. It is something. You've done the work, okay? So when someone holds up a mirror, you just say, thanks for telling me that. That really made a difference in my day. And you don't have to immediately give a compliment back unless you feel it, but really just drink that in for a second. You're doing great. I can see that the work is happening. I also see that some of you are either 1 foot in and 1 foot out of a challenging situation, and you probably tuned in today saying, Nicholas, please tell me how I can get through this. Well, for those of you that aren't quite through the Devil card yet, it is about reminding yourself that you don't have to be unhappy, and it's not your responsibility to please everyone, and to follow your heart, and to be the boss and the leader that you are. The King of Wands only comes through when you have that power to figure things out. It's innovative, it's leadership personified, it's also a card that is able to inspire others. So you got all of that in your court right now, but it does boil down to, do you believe what the mirror is showing you? There's a card in the Lightseer's deck, I think it's the 8 of Swords, where she sees something completely different from what we, the viewer, can see. And a little bit of this energy is coming through as I'm looking at this sort of story of cards that have come through so far. Let's see where the rest of the deck takes us here. So I love that the Magician is coming through in the near future. Your outcome card is 9 of Wands. And the irony here is it's right within, like, it's going to happen fast. The 10 of Wands is in hopes and fears. So you're afraid of finishing it, but you're going to finish it. So don't worry. Don't even worry about that. We have the Magician in reverse here. And the Magician is saying, focus on your strengths. Focus not only on your strengths, but your passions. And remember that you don't have to show everything to everyone or be everything to everyone. Just do what you need to do, what feels right in this moment in time. And the sky's the limit. You've got a lot more tricks up your sleeve. And I think that people are going to be pleasantly surprised at all the different hats that you can wear, because the Magician represents a jack of all trades, someone who can, even when it's not their area of expertise, they can flourish in almost any situation, including that oncoming storm that I picked up on. All right, as we look at what's going on with you this month, it's the train tracks, it's the road, it's the horizon. So I talked about that center card being one step away from this. So success, 6 of Wands, center card, 7 of Wands. You're showing up as being on track, literally. It's the road or the train tracks, and we have the horizon calling to you. Don't lose your focus. As long as you can flip this Magician upright and basically say, I've got this, I'm going to finish what I started, I'm not going to second guess myself, this is going to work out, you'll be fine. What I also love about this 8 of Wands is, remember I said be the light? You could also be at this end of the tracks, pulling in the opportunity, because like attracts like. So you could be pulling in this King of Wands that's coming through, and it's almost like he's at the other end of that light or that rainbow and saying, I've got this. I can see that person. Let's do this. So I see it's not a collision. It's actually the meeting of great minds or a synchronicity. You're calling in a synchronicity. Stay on track. And when you feel distracted, when you feel uninspired or whatever, this card is reminding you there's too much at stake. You've worked too hard to get to this moment. So keep on keeping on. This is also a community card. So look around and just look at the people that have been there with you every step of the way. Say thank you, and also lean into that too. We want to find things that bring you that sense of passion and engagement and recharging, as we talked about earlier. All right, as we look at the environment here, we have a card that I have seen so many times here. This is the Four of Swords. It's reversed, but let's just look at it in the upright position. And just for the sake of contrasting it, here's your traditional Four of Swords first. Normally we see a person at rest. Literally, this is a sepulcher or a coffin, and it represents death and rebirth. It's also the passing of one difficult experience that yields wisdom and that sense of vitality. In this particular deck, we see a little bird on that fourth sword, which is coming through as like a whisper of opportunity, someone who's waiting to hear from you. And this is a chance again to take action. And we talked about that at the beginning. What's impeding that ability to take action? Rest, fatigue, and possibly even rushing through things, because there is a nice dreamy quality to the Four of Swords. And just like I need a good night's sleep before I can do a really good reading, you too may need a vacation, a holiday, a sabbatical, or just a good night's rest before you make the next decision or movement in your life. And if you've been depriving yourself of the ability to take a moment and just integrate, please don't do that anymore. Give yourself the time that you need to rest. And I realize some of you might be juggling multiple jobs, a lot of responsibility. Relationships came through as I was saying that, so there could be somebody in your life that's just requiring a lot of attention. I get it, but it is really important for you also to be able to tune into your own internal voice so that you're not forgetting what it's all about, okay? And that's really all I need to say with respect to that. Now, sleep quality and sleep quantity as well, but we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to health. Let's focus on hopes, fears, and opportunities. It's perfectly aligned with your outcome, Nine of Wands. You're very close to completion, but some of you want to rush there, and this is a nice connection to the previous one. So 10 of Wands, in the shape of a wheel on this particular deck, which is interesting. You can see he's created a wheel there. Normally, we see someone who's kind of bent over a bit, carrying all of those wands on their back, and they can see the end in sight, but it's sort of like, oh, it's going to take a little bit to get there. And so there is that feeling of, is there an efficiency? Is there a way to do it better? Maybe there is, but don't rush. That's the main thing that I get with this card is don't rush. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, and a wheel can only sort of travel so fast at any given point. So do all that you can, breathe, and know in your heart and mind you're doing your best, you're going to get to that finish line, and you want to make sure that you can enjoy what comes after that. And that's why the rest is necessary, okay? Now we actually have the outcome card here. It pairs up with manifestation, so this is setting your intention, and this is achieving it. And we have Nine of Wands. And I just covered this in a recent daily reading. We can see someone that's worked hard to get where they're at. They're almost at the top of that pyramid or staircase. Here's what happens with the Nine of Wands sometimes. Fatigue can set in. Typically, there's a bandage around the head, which represents sometimes just getting into your own headspace, but it can also be people that have tried to push you off that path. They're not going to succeed. You're going to get to the horizon one way, shape, or form. But it can be pushy people. It can be difficulty. Sometimes we have to go through the school of hard knocks. The thing with the Nine of Wands is it is a card of success. You have a lot of powerful and, dare I say, pushy cards here. The King of Wands, he typically gets what he wants. The Seven of Wands can defend themselves against anything, including the devil. The Nine of Wands, nobody's fool, gonna get to the finish line. The Eight of Wands, focused to a pinpoint perfection here. And then again, we see the completion here in opportunities. So I feel really optimistic, really positive about this particular path that you're on. The main things before we get into the expanded forecast is avoid this temptation, fear, or limiting thought. Move around this gatekeeper. There may be a better way. Love yourself, trust yourself, and embrace this sort of heartfelt idea that's coming through. And all the other cards are going to line up to help you accomplish your goal, okay? Your emotional self may be a little bit like, it may feel like there's a lot of pressure. And so dealing with that is something that we can look at in this next piece. We're going to expand now to look at the health, wealth, love, and destiny portion. We're going to start off first with health. This is mind, body, and spirit, ultimately well-being. I look at energy. If there's anything going on in your life and you need to talk to an expert, lean on that expert. But looking at the energy of health, we have a card here that shows individuality, but it can also be a card that shows entrapment, because I can look at the zebra as like the bars of the Eight of Swords, like you kind of think yourself into a mental prison. But in this deck, we can see the zebra as wearing your stripes with pride. So this is saying what used to make you feel like you were isolated or in a world of your own now actually sets you apart in a positive way. It's like our thumbprint, these zebra stripes. So wear your stripes with pride. And the Nine of Wands, usually, like I said, has a bandage. Embrace those, scars, whether they're internal or external, and say, I went through some stuff to get where I'm at, and I'm proud of who I am, and I'm not going to change anything, right? So embrace your individuality. Now let's look specifically at some general health messages. Energetically speaking, here's what I'm seeing. Some of you need someone to talk to. You may feel like you can't talk to your partner, your teacher, your friend, so talk to a therapist. There needs to get, for those of you that are holding on to the past, and it could be from family stuff, talk it out. That's a really healing thing to do. I mentioned the heavy emotional burden. For some of you, it's because you're a caretaker, or you do a job, or you serve a function in your family where you listen and kind of take in and take on a lot. The Ten of Cups reversed and the Ten of Wands are very similar because of that energy of feeling burdened. So release the burden, talk to someone. Again, I do feel like it's important to have a friend or therapist or an outlet, creative outlet even, to get rid of some of that energy. This can also be a part of your life that you no longer really want to embrace. So this could be a habit, drinking too much, eating too much, smoking, whatever it is. And you're saying, I don't want to do that anymore because it's impeding me from achieving all this other stuff. So you know what your own particular block is, and this is a month to release that block. This is a card where focus, concentration, and just general, there's too much on your plate, actually. The Seven of Wands and the Magician together is saying, take one or two responsibilities out of the mix so that you can do everything a little bit better. If you're doing any heavy lifting, or again, if it's just emotional heavy lifting, give yourself the support that you need so that you have the ability to see everything to the finish line. Sleep may be a little bit on the light side this month. You may have, again, too much going on. Maybe there's too much caffeine. Maybe there's too much anxiety. Whatever's happening here, work on that so that you can hear your own thoughts and your own ideas, because there's something really cool on the horizon. Ultimately, that's it. It's pretty good. The Nine of Wands, again, can also have indications of migraines or, again, just a lot going on in a mental capacity or emotional capacity. So you want to focus on allowing your mind to feel that quiet that it needs. So nice, consistent energy. And again, just embrace who you are. Let's move on to wealth. We have a beautiful card coming through. I love the message here. It says, love and let yourself be loved. Folks, this is the mirror that I talked about earlier that Spirit is holding up. And it's basically saying, I see you. Can you see yourself? Can you see the light here? This is the love that we talked about, recent past. Many of you have already started that path of acceptance, of unconditional love, even when it didn't exist in the past. And you are opening up a new pathway to something bigger, better, and brighter in the future. The only block this month is what we saw at the center, the devil. And believe it or not, the devil can actually be something that we're putting in our own mind, sort of a limiting thought. And it comes through to remind you to love yourself. These cards are very much related. This is a low frequency version of this. Instead of having space and light between the two lovers, we have chains. And instead of the free will that we see there, we have someone that's calling the shots. So this month, all you have to do is give yourself the space and the unconditional love to spread your wings. And if there's anyone that comes in and is trying to tether you or weigh you down, you know that it's the other energy coming through. But sometimes it's our own thoughts where you think to yourself, can this be real? Is this happening? Am I worth it? And I would just turn them around and say, why aren't you worth it? Why shouldn't this be happening? You can do this. And again, the mirror that Spirit held up for you earlier is, you are love. Let yourself drink in that love and be loved in return. All right, we're going to take a look at those that are working, those that might just be starting out, or those that might be retired, and see what the messages are. If you're working, here are the messages. First of all, if we don't look at this card and we just look at everything else, this trajectory over here is pretty darn good. It's saying that you can do anything that you set your mind to, that you might be 1 or 2 steps away from completion, but it's happening. And ultimately, just take a break, get some rest. One thing that could happen this month, like I said earlier, is there could be someone that's trying to block progress. Unfortunately, sometimes this can be an authority figure. It can also be a family member. The thing is, it doesn't look like it's going to prevail. The devil is going to show its true colors. They may try to keep this sort of under wraps, but it's going to come out. Everything comes out in the wash. And you end up looking pretty clear and pretty good when all of this is said and done. So keep your wits about you. That's why it's really important to rest. When you communicate, lead by example. When you're in the face of this, elevate it. And instead of meeting the devil with, oh, wow, look at that. That's synchronicity. So yeah, when you see the devil, you want to meet it with this higher love, and you want to meet it with this peaceful energy. So everything that you see here is what you need for success. Cool, calm, and collected, kind and loving, and basically this dude doesn't know what to do with all of that. So lead by example. When we take that piece out of it, one thing that I think is going to be important is to really look at contracts. Make sure that if there might be something where you're not allowed to talk about something, or people hold too many rights to something, and you would probably want to push back on that. This is literally pushing back on unrealistic wishes, thoughts, expectations, or contracts. And you'll win based on what I'm seeing, the 7 of Wands, 8 of Wands, 10 of Wands. And if you don't win, move on to somewhere where you can, because this is a card of moving. Because this is such a non-traditional one, that's something that I missed initially, but it's coming through really loud and clear as we're looking at work. So if you can't clear this, then move on to where you can find that sense of elevated love that we talked about. Because it is your divine right this month to feel like you love where you're at, you love what you're doing, and you're being respected at the end of the day. And that's the big question from the universe. Let's pause for a second, because this touches each of the categories that I'll be looking at. Do you feel appreciated, and do you like what you're doing? And if you don't, it's time to sort of figure out why you're doing what you're doing and how you can bring more passion into the mix, okay? I feel like if something's missing, you have a good chance of creating or moving or shifting that energy in the right direction because of the Magician. I think that one thing that could help many of you is seeing what else is out there. This is a card of travel. And pay attention to your dreams. Like me, some great energy, insight, and information could be coming through in your dreams. You're going to finish what you set out to finish. I just feel like I have to say that time and again. It is important to take more of a leadership role. And if you can't find the sort of support that you need for that to happen again, look around. You might find it somewhere else. For those of you that are just starting out, this is family, and this can also be limits that family imposes on you, and you're going to push back on that. You may have to go in a completely different path. And it's interesting that we have a lot of cards showing steps. So we have steps leading up to the devil card here. We have steps leading to the family. And then we have a train track or road, other steps here. We also have steps here. There's more than one opportunity in front of you. There's more than one thing that you can do that's going to constitute success. But at the end of the day, what's going to also be happy and fulfilling for you? Choose a path that you like. You're going to be on it for a while. And you're going to be on it longer than your parents and your relatives, because hopefully if everything works out, you have a long life ahead of you. So speaking from experience here, now that my parents are gone, I'm glad that I decided to make a shift and make a move that worked for me, because it's just me now, right? So There's a point where you have to live your life for you, for your spouse, for your children. Like that's your new core unit, or for yourself if you're single like me. You have to focus on the person or the people that matter most and make the best of that, okay? You can't constantly live in the shadow of the expectations of family, society, and teachers. It's your life. And you've got many lives to live, but you only live this one once. Make the most of it. Some of you want to move or to travel for whatever it is that you do for a living. If you need to make a move or if you need to get some distance from family, do what you need to do, okay? Ultimately, great cards this month, only one limiting one. For those that are retired or those that are really not focusing so much on work, you're going to be busy. This is a card of being busy. You like activities. In fact, you may have a really hard time slowing down, especially if I am reading for any new retirees or any newly unemployed people. You're just thinking, I got to get back out there. So this time, focus on things that bring, again, that sense of joy and satisfaction. I think it's really important also to have, some of you like to teach, to mentor, or to have people call on you for advice. So whether you're getting paid for that or you're volunteering, we have this mentor card here and all of this activity. So I'm all for being busy. Just make sure you're getting enough sleep and enjoying a little bit of that downtime, because when it does come into our lives, it's not always there forever. So do rest up. Your mind, body, and spirit will say thank you. All right, let's get into the energy of love. And for this one, we have a really powerful message. So perfectly connected, actually. You are not alone. And you're wondering, well, why is this coming through? It's because even if you're with someone, even if there's a lot of energy around you, it's a reminder that you've had support, you've had assistance here. This is your spiritual army, angels, ancestors, higher self, all the people that you connect with on the other side. They've been helping you get to this point. Some of you need to hear it because you're looking around and you're wondering, why isn't there more indication of that? Well, spirit works in subtle ways. There is that beautiful sun at the end of this road, and that can represent love or opportunity or something really powerful, even when it's not right here in the periphery. Ultimately, this is a time to keep the faith, and let's get some perspective on this so that we can fill in some of the missing pieces here. And we're going to look at this in 3 different perspectives. Those who are in a relationship, those who are looking for love, or those who are happily single. We're going to start off with everybody in a relationship first. It's really easy to see what I have to talk about first. It's these 2 cards. So the devil in relationships is this, keeping secrets. And the secret keeping card was reversed. So transparent, open communication is number 1 when it comes to relationship success, because you need to know that you've got each other's backs. And if there is something that you're afraid of that you need to talk about, or that has just come up and you think, I wish I would have shared this, this is the time to be honest, to be forthright, to be communicative. And that's all I need to say with that. There could be a third party that's trying to enter in. It doesn't always have to be someone who's trying to, date your partner. This can be like an in-law. It could be a friend that's jealous and they're just trying to sort of disrupt things. So in this case, we actually have the solution right here. Push back on people that are pushy and should be minding their own sort of P's and Q's. So you're going to put a nice line in the sand and say, thanks for the insight. I wasn't asking. You need to, basically stay in your swim lane. And that's going to help. You have to be outspoken with someone who is intruding. You have to push back. So this is the boss card. This is pushing back. And this is El Diablo going somewhere else, hopefully. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. I do see that there's a lot of love. So even in a challenging situation, the love's overflowing, actually. I think this really could be, this devil card could be family or extended family. People that you can't really control having in the mix. They're there because of blood or contracts. And it's really about negotiating how you're going to deal with that. It could also be an ex in the picture. And maybe there's a shared, a child that's in the picture and you have to still communicate with them. Again, it's really making sure that there are proper boundaries and open communication. Ultimately, I told you this card isn't going to get in the way. Everything else is good, but it's a speed bump that you have to move past in existing relationships. There is some travel for some of you that's coming through, a lot of work. I feel like one of the biggest challenges in relationships is this feeling of there's not enough time for the 2 of you. You're missing one another. There's a lot of love, but busy, 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 too tired. So by the time you do have extra time, it's like there's not enough energy for the intimacy, for the connection, for the conversation. So rest first and then really connect. And if you can't make time for your partner today or tomorrow, put some time on the books and say, I really want to be with you. How about Friday? Like, make it happen and keep that contract. If you say you're going to do it, okay? And I think that'll lead to success here. Ultimately, we have still that there's a connection here. You can't force things. This is the other thing. If you're not feeling it or they're not feeling it, you know, listen to cues, pay attention to nonverbal stuff. But I do believe that with proper rest and with coordination of schedules, you can make time for one another this month. So it looks positive here. The only thing that can get in the way of you and your partner is a secret. So be honest. Otherwise, it's a house of cards, and I can't really help with that. So honesty is everything. It's honesty, integrity, and transparency. Now let's move on to those of you looking for love. It could be a Capricorn coming in. Sometimes the devil is just a Capricorn. I would say here's what's coming through for those looking for love right now. Do you have the time and do you have the energy? Because this constitutes being busy. This is actually overcommitting. By the way, I could have mentioned this on work, but it's coming through now. So for many of you, you might be doing more than you need to simply because you keep saying yes. So this is about saying no. Make some room in your life so that you can do some other things. Push back on things that you just don't need or want to do. If you free up your space and your time a little bit, can you call in love? Absolutely. We have a fiery energy coming through, could be a fire sign. We have a Capricorn energy coming through as well. The only thing that I see as a cautionary note is if you don't feel the connection, don't force it. Some of you may just be it's more platonic, it's more friendship energy, or you share a lot of intellectual interests. So maybe you're just meeting a friend. You thought it would be a date, but it might be a friend in the long run. And that's not the worst thing to have. So allow the energy to take you where it needs to be, because it may be someone that's looking for something different or can't give you what you want. Because we do see love, we have the devil, and that's usually someone that is either attached or not interested in the same thing that you are, or simply can't show up. So I think this is a time to focus on relationships outside of romantic ones. So it's a good time to meet new friends, and it's a good time to focus on clearing out any old contracts or things of that nature. If you're single and happy, all the stuff I just said at the latter part of that holds true, but it's also a good time for learning. And for many of you, basically taking a vacation or a break. This is travel and this is rest. So there are two types of trips that you can take. There's a holiday, and then there's one where you just go to locations and try to put a bunch in. So are you taking a trip where you've got an itinerary, or are you taking a holiday / vacation where you're simply taking care of yourself? Hopefully it's the latter, because you don't need an itinerary right now. You need to slow down a little bit. Many of you that are busy, and this is a time where when you're in that sort of lull, then you can be at peace, and some new things will come through, maybe even inspiration for something creative in your life. So I think it's about slowing down right now, to be honest. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Destiny card, which I previewed a couple moments ago. We have Rejoice in Celebration. We have the holidays upon us, several holidays in a row for the next couple of months. So this is like a 3 of Cups. You can see it here, and we've got the number 3. So say yes to some of these invitations to different parties. I think it's also important to be open to new people in your life. There could have been someone in the past that just didn't, or even the recent past that didn't show up the way you wanted them to. Not everybody is going to duplicate that energy. You've done the work on yourself. You're going to attract a different type of person in the future. So this is a chance for business, friendship, and love to network a bit. There could also just be a note from Spirit. 3 of Cups is enjoy every day, the little successes, the little victories that you've been able to accomplish. Really revel in that, embrace that, and do something to both say thanks and congrats to yourself, but also to your friends, your family, your loved ones. Show that appreciation. It will help so much, and it will open up new doors and opportunities for everybody. All right, we're going to now take a look at the Sun, Rising, and Moon sign messages. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what's coming through here. Sun, Rising, and Moon. In the energy of the sun sign, we have the Two of Cups and the card was reversed. So there's a couple of things here that we want to talk about. First things first, let's just kind of zoom in and look at the people reaching for those cups in the sky. And it's saying, don't give up on what it is that you love, what your dream is. You should be able this month to find people in your life that celebrate that vision, that passion. If they don't, if they're trying to pull you down, deflate you, or make you second guess yourself, it's kind of what we were seeing here at the center, and you're going to push back on that. So this is basically conditional love. This is you saying no thanks. And this is you holding space so someone with the unconditional love can come in instead. And this could be that sort of tower energy that I picked up on, needing to mix up the social calendar a little bit, needing to move into a separate sort of energy or direction. And even if that means for a little bit focusing just on you, for those of you that are single and looking or single and happy, it's okay. Ultimately, though, the Two of Cups is a favorable card. It shows that there can be love and partnership. It just may not be exactly the way you thought, at the time you thought, or even in the direction that you thought it would be coming from. When the Two of Cups is reversed, there's something a little bit unconventional or unexpected. If it's uninvited or if it's not a mutual spark, you can't fake that. So this is also about being honest with yourself and honest with others. That honesty attracts like-minded energy. So basically lead with what it is that you're seeking out there. Be honest, be passionate, be forthright, and make space for other people who have done the work to come in. And don't be afraid, if you don't see them right now, to keep doing what you're doing. Eventually, like the universe said earlier, you are not alone. You will find exactly what you need. And you want to kind of be like the sun, not a satellite. Let your energy call in other things. You're not a moon. You're not a satellite. You're the source. You're the light. Be the light. Remember what I talked about earlier. Okay, focusing now on rising sign messages. We have the Seven of Pentacles, recovery, growth, and basically the fact that you're en route to abundance. This is a card of harvesting too. You have to wait for exactly the right time to decide that, okay, let's do this. Don't rush. It's important to get rest. It's important, like I said, with the wheel, don't reinvent the wheel. Know that you can only move at a certain speed and know what your limits are. Ultimately with this, as long as you don't overcommit financially, resource-wise, or just energetically, you'll be fine. It's typically a card that comes after you've learned that lesson, that there are limits to what you are willing to do to get something done. So really honor that energy and that sort of insight that you've already learned, okay? It is important to budget when this card comes through. So take a moment to basically crunch the numbers, see what you've got. This is that planning phase that we talked about way at the beginning. It can help you anticipate change. It can help you navigate through any challenges. Let's move on to moon sign messages. We have here the Nine of Swords in reverse. If we're going to get either the 9 or the 10, I want it reversed. The Nine of Swords typically comes through just like the Four of Swords when you are exhausted. So we have two cards that are showing someone who could use a little bit more rest. So specifically for those of you in the moon sign, take a break, get some perspective, take a couple steps back. This is also a really unique illustration. I'm going to take the graphic off for a second so you can see it. All of these swords are actually showing up as cords from other people. So sometimes the things that keep us up, the fears that we kind of absorb, they are from coworkers, from friends, from family members. And we just kind of, it's like a barnacle on a sea mammal or something, or like a crustacean. I've seen them before, videos with that, like a crab can end up getting barnacles. So what you want to do is scrape off these barnacles and say, that's not me, that's someone else's energy projected on me, and it's not my path. I don't have to worry about that. The cool thing with the Nine of Swords is it's typically not as difficult or as overwhelming as it seems. When you basically get a good night's sleep, start the day fresh tomorrow with new insights, with new perspective, you can face whatever it is that's in front of you. So don't overwhelm yourself. Don't let yourself kind of go through this rabbit hole of questions and anxieties, because typically you've got exactly what it takes to navigate any challenge. This is a month to separate yourself from people, places, and activities that constitute stress or kind of make you feel depleted. This was the battery message that came through, feeling like your battery is on, 20%, you got to recharge. So anything that makes you feel depleted, step away from that. When you start to get these thoughts where it's kind of fear-based, talk to somebody, get the rest that you need, get the counseling that you need. And tomorrow is a new day and ostensibly a better day. So take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and things are going to move in the right direction. All right, let's focus now on your final question and final card. At this point, ask me something that you haven't yet seen here in the cards. Just meditate on that question and let's see what the cards have to say. You received the Six of Cups. It's reversed, but if we look at it upright, we can see this beautiful couple, almost like at the end of this camera lens, or if you're looking in the distance and using a telescope. And this is what they're zooming in on. Happiness, playful energy, good news, maybe even someone from the past coming back. The Six of Cups is also just about connecting with your inner child. So the fact that it's reversed may mean that your inner child is trying to get your attention. Have some fun. Is there a hobby, extracurricular activity, or even a person in your life that just kind of rekindles that inner child energy? This is where you want to put your focus. This is what's going to attract more like-minded or like energy sort of opportunities and people. And this is really where the energy is taking you. As a yes or no, this is typically a very joyful yes. The card in reverse is also just saying it's okay to have fun. It's okay to do something for you, even if you don't normally do this, especially if you don't normally do this, okay? There may also be someone in the past with whom it may be good to try to sort of like clear or clean the karma. In other words, say, I'm sorry, or goodbye, or whatever it is that you need to do to sort of like close a chapter. That energy is also coming through at this moment in time. All right, everybody, that brings this reading to a close. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor. If you're brand new, hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on a future video. You can also opt into notifications with the bell. And if you're a longtime viewer, make sure you hit the thumbs up. You can only do it once per video, but it really helps. It lets me know that you enjoyed this and it helps others find this video. To make sure that you also are up to date with news and information and announcements, you can follow me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, no extra characters or spaces. And if you ever need to make sure that you've got the right handle, etc., you can go to my website or just to the main channel page here on YouTube. A quick sort of reminder here, there's a lot of folks out there that try to pretend to be me. So if they are messaging you or asking you for stuff or trying to get you to communicate with them in direct message, block, ignore, and then leave me a comment below so that I know that I need to put in a report for an imposter. There's a bunch of them out there. If you want to give back here on the channel, there's an easy way to do it. If you're watching on replay, there's a little heart that says thanks. If you watch any of my live streams, you can do it through super stickers and super chat. You can always do it through memberships. I do live videos every Sunday if you want to join in on one of those. I drop new videos Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and I also do a daily one-card reading. You can check out all of that on my channel. As a bonus, I just wanted to bring up Apollo, who's been napping here in the background, and wish all of you a fantastic month ahead. See you real soon. Bye-bye.